Welcome to Makeshift Shows with Just Randy. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button and ring that bell. If you're returning, thanks for the support. In tonight's video, I'll be demonstrating Bill G's shared dozen strategy. Since the bets are tripled on the losing side, this should only be played on a European wheel. The betting sequence is 1, 3, 9, 27, 81, and 243. In this system, 2 dozens are connected, sharing 1 dozen. The first and second dozen are connected, and the second and third dozen are connected. The side that doesn't hit must be tripled on the next spin. If the shared dozen hits, it can be applied to either side. Both sides have a 65% chance on each spin. Look at the graph. As you can see, with the first spin, we will put 1 on the first dozen, 2 on the middle dozen, and 1 on the third dozen. The reason why we do this, because this is what the system says. 1 unit for the first dozen, and it's connected to the second dozen, so it gets its 1 unit for the second dozen. And then when you apply your unit to the third dozen, and it's connected to the second unit, you add 1 for the third dozen connection to the center, which makes it a 1, 2, 1. Okay, now if the third dozen hits, the first dozen gets 3, okay, because it lost. So it gets 3 in the first dozen. Well, it's connected to the middle dozen, so it also gets 3. And the winner, which was the third dozen, gets 1 unit. Well, it's also connected to the second unit, so now you have to add that 1 to the middle dozen, which makes it 4. So it would be 3 units bet in the first dozen, 4 units in the middle dozen, and 1 unit on the third dozen. If the third dozen wins again, then the first dozen gets 9, and so does the middle dozen. But it also gets 1 because it's connected to the third dozen, so it makes it have 10. The third dozen gets its 1 unit, so it'd be 9 in the first unit, in the first dozen, 9 in the first dozen, 10 in the middle dozen, and 1 in the third dozen. If the second dozen hits, it can be applied to either side. Since the left side is higher, it should be applied to that side. So looking back at those numbers before, if you have 9 in the left, 10 in the center, and 1 on the right, which is the third dozen, if the center hits, we can apply it to the 1, but we wouldn't do that because then the next up bet for the first dozen would be even higher, and we don't want to do that. So we're going to apply it to the left, which is the first dozen, and give it the win, which makes it a 1 unit, and 1 unit in the center, plus the 3 that you add because of the 3 you're betting in the third dozen, because it is now considered the loser. You decided, and you decided to give the first dozen the win. Okay? If the 0 hits, then both sides should be up bet. As you can see here, it would be 3, 12, and 9. Also, the middle doesn't necessarily have to be the shared dozen. I'm not willing to try that yet. Let's demonstrate. Alright, so you heard the spiel, so here we go. We're going to put 1 unit on the first dozen, 2 in the second center dozen, and 1 in the third dozen. And this is how we start out. Alright, so what do we have here? We're rolling, we're spinning, we have a black 29. Okay, so that's in the third dozen, so that's going to get 1 unit bet, and then that means 3 in the first dozen, and 4 in the center dozen, because they're all connected, remember? So you get 1 in the first, so you have to add that 1 to the center. You get 3 in the first, you have to add that 1 in the 3 in the center. So it's going to be 3 in the first dozen, 4 in the middle, and 1. There we go. Now we're going to hit spin. Boom. All right, now we're rolling, and this is our second spin. This is our second spin. What do we have? We have a black 20. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to choose to the first dozen. We're going to make it our winner. So it gets 1 unit and 3 units on the here, let me clear that out, make sure I did that right. 1 in the first unit, 4 in the middle unit, and 3 in the third unit. There we go. All right, here we go. And boom. All right, let's hit spin. All right, so here we go. So that was and we have a black 13, which is in the middle. And since we had made our third dozen the loser, so we're going to choose to make it the winner this time. So it's going to get 1 unit, 3 units in the first 12, 4 units in the middle 12. There we go. And we're gone, and we're winning. That's 4 spins, right? Yeah. And we have a red 14, which is in the center again. All right, so since the first dozen was a loser last time, we're going to make it a winner by giving it 1 unit and 1 unit in the middle, and then of course 3 and 12, plus those 3 have to go in the center to give us 4 units in the middle. All right, and we have a red 27, which is the third unit. All right, fantastic. So that's a winner for the third dozen. So that's 3 in the left, 4 in the middle, and 1 in the right, which is the third dozen. And here we go. What do we have here? And we have a black 10, which is the first dozen. Well, we're going to make it our winner. So it's going to get 1 unit, and 1 unit copies to the middle because they're connected, and then 3 units to the middle and 3 units to the 312, which gives us 4 in the middle. All right, so here we go. And we have a red 23, which is in the middle. All right, so now we get to make the third is going to be 1 unit. It's our winner. Even though the middle 1, we get to choose. So we're giving it the 1 and 3 to the first 12. And here we go. And we're going, and we have a red 32, which is another winner. So now we have to up bet. So 9 is our up bet number. It goes to the first unit. Well, if you put 9 in the first one, since it's connected, 9 has to go in the middle. And of course, we're going to give our winner the 1, which is the third, 12. So we have to add it to the center because they are connected. So it's a 9, 10, 1. And here we go. And it's a 28, which is another winner in the third column. All right, so that means we have to up bet to 27. So the first dozen is going to have a $27 bet. And then we got to move that 27 to the center, and then 1 bet to the third 12, which since it's connected, you have to add it. So it's going to have a 27 in the first 12, 28 in the middle 12, and 1 unit in the third 12. Man, I like this. This is fantastic. Exciting. All right, what do we have here? And we have fantastic. So we have a winner in the first dozen. So it's going to get 1 unit, and we're going to add 1 unit to the center dozen, and then we're going to 3 go to the third dozen. Well, since 3 is connected to the center, then we have to add 3 there. So we'll have 1 in the first dozen, 4 in the middle dozen, and 3 in the third dozen. Man, fantastic. All right, let's clear this out. It's all coming together. There we go. And now we're going to spin. And what do we have? What do we have? Oh, and when we have a first dozen win. So it's going to get a 1 again. And now the third dozen gets 9. So does the center dozen. So that's 9 from the third, move to the center dozen, 1 from the first dozen to the middle, which means it's going to be a 1, 10, 9. There we go. Now we're rocking. And what do we have? What do we have? And we have a 21, which is a center dozen win. And since we had 9 on the third dozen, we're going to make it our winner. So it gets 1 unit, 4 units in the center, and 3 in the first dozen. See how that works? Man, I love this. It's fantastic. There we go. We're going to do that. We're going to do that. Bam. And now we're rolling. Whew. Man, it's a lot going on, but you can do it. All right, we have a black 28, which is in the third dozen, which is fantastic. I don't know how much we won, but I think we won more than $30. So we're going to stop there. And I hope you enjoyed this. Bill G, this is a fantastic system. It's a lot going on. I appreciate you. And if any of you want me to do a video of your system, just let me know in the comment section, and I'll be glad to do it. This is exactly what I enjoy doing, is seeing your systems, putting it on video so we can all look and learn. And thanks for watching. Hit that subscribe button if you're new, and catch you next time. See ya.